It's hilarious that Joe Biden continues to suggest that America's tax system is regressive when it is actually quite progressive. Also, he wants to push what sounds like the most regressive policy prescription that I can think of. He wants to simply cancel student loan debt. Here is Joe Biden saying this yesterday.
Does student loan forgiveness figure in your plan? Would you take executive action to achieve it?
It does figure in my plan. I've laid out in detail. For example, the legislation passed by the Democratic House calls for immediate $10,000 forgiveness of student loans. It's holding people up. They're in real trouble. They're having to make choices between paying their student loan and paying their rent, those kinds of decisions. It should be done immediately.
Okay, so he wants to just come in and relieve student loan debt. So a few points here. One, if you paid your bills, you're a sucker. All right, I paid my wife's medical school bills. I paid my law school bills. My parents helped me out with college. We all took on debt, and we all paid off that debt in order to pay off our debts. And we did so in the assumption that that was going to be a way of investing in the future. And here comes Joe Biden saying, basically, you're suckers. Because not only did you pay off your debt, now the taxpayer is going to assume everybody else's debt, which means that you're going to have to pay for some jackass Antifa student's degree in queer studies. So I'm a sucker. You're a sucker. If you're a taxpayer, you're a sucker. If you're a high school student, if you're a high school grad, and you didn't go to college, you're a serious sucker because you could have gone for free and then just had Joe Biden alleviate the debt. Not only that, you're not going to have to pay because the taxes are going to come. You're going to have to pay for that college student to get that ridiculous degree. And what this really is a subsidy to a university system that indoctrinates kids in stupidity. There are two types of degrees that come out of college systems. Okay, there is the type of degree where you actually learn something. My wife was pre-med, right? So she was in psychobiology. That is a hard science. Right? If you look at the hard sciences, science, tech, engineering, math, right? The STEM fields, those are actual degrees with actual skill sets. Then they're what we at UCLA used to call the North Campus degrees. Right? They're the English majors and the poli-sci majors. I'll speak about poli-sci because I was a poli-sci major. It was useless crap. The only reason that you got a poli-sci major was so that you could go to law school or brag that you got a poli-sci degree from UCLA without any concomitant skill set. It was a scam designed to give you a degree. These are degree mills. That is what these colleges are. They are designed as sorting mechanisms, as feeder mechanisms, right? The idea is that employers are, I believe, banned by federal law from giving things like IQ tests in order to determine whether or not you are smart enough to be hired. So instead, we have an entire ridiculous and backwards and convoluted system where you're supposed to incur tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt to basically take an IQ test, which is all that a degree from a college basically is, right? Because you take an SAT, which is a low-level IQ test, or an ACT, same sort of thing, and then you get funneled into a college, and then the college weeds out people who are not particularly hardworking, and then you get the degree, and all an employer learns from that is not that you have a marketable skill set. They learn that you are quote-unquote smart, right? This is why if you have Harvard on your diploma, even if you majored in something really stupid, you're probably more likely to get a job than if you have junior college on your diploma and you majored in something not particularly stupid. Because everybody sort of understands that unless you're majoring in science, technology, engineering, math, then you are basically learning not much of anything. You're just going there to get the degree, and then that sorting mechanism can be used to get you into a job somewhere. We'd be much better off pushing apprenticeship programs. So I have an alternative proposal. Instead of rewarding these colleges with taxpayer money, because again, when you wipe out the debt, taxpayers pick it up. That's all that means. There's no such thing as free college. There's just taxpayers paying for your crappy major. One of the reasons that I like the idea of private institutions providing the loans for colleges as opposed to the federal government backing them is because private institutions sometimes take a look at your degree and determine whether they think you're going to pay back. See, the thing about a degree is that it is not foreclosable. When a bank gives you a mortgage on a house, they make an assessment. One, are you going to pay back the debt? Two, if you don't pay back the debt, can they seize the property? Right? It's secured. It's a secured loan. Education is an unsecured loan. There is no collateral they can seize if you stop paying back your debt. So what banks typically do is they look at what you're getting a degree in. If you're getting a degree from Harvard Law, then they can assume that you're going to pay back the debt because you're probably going to get a high-flying law job that makes you a couple $100,000 a year start. Right? That's a better bet than if you're getting a theater major at Wesleyan. Right? That might be harder to get a loan for in the private sector, which is right. The federal government comes in and guarantees all of these loans, which is idiotic because now they're subsidizing a bunch of crappy majors at a bunch of colleges that are just there to indoctrinate you into wokeism. Okay, so this should all be privatized in the first place. But I have another idea. If we are going to actually forgive these debts, how about this? How about instead of having the taxpayers forgive the debts, how about if you have a useless major and you're not earning a lot of money and you actually have serious loan debt because you took out a bunch of loans to do that theater major in lesbian dance theory over at Wesleyan? How about this? How about Wesleyan has to eat the cost? Because Wesleyan was in on the scam. Wesleyan knew you weren't going to get a job in lesbian dance after you got your degree. How about they, who helped perpetuate the scam, they have to eat the cost? That would end this scam, this grift, right quick, wouldn't it? But Joe Biden has no intention of doing that because, of course, these colleges are churning out Democratic voters. They're a way of indoctrinating people into ideologies that Joe Biden favors. This is an anti-blue-collar program. It doesn't help high school grads. It does not care for people who don't feel like wasting 4 years of their lives and hundreds of thousands of dollars at a college to earn a degree in crap. It doesn't help people who have already paid their debts. And it subsidizes people who are in the least profitable and least useful majors. Okay, so this is a very regressive program that Joe Biden is pushing. But this is the left. I mean, the left-wing Democratic Party is now basically a coalition of the intersectionally aggrieved and the woke white people. That's what the Democratic Party coalition is. Well, good luck with that in the future.